This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Hey Spuds, how's it going? Welcome back to another video, your first video on the channel. I don't know, but welcome either way. I'm very glad to have you here. My name is Jamie, probably should have said that earlier, but I forgot. And today we're going to be looking at some LGBTQ plus themed Am I the Butthole? Because we are less than 30 seconds into the video. Am I the Butthole posts from Reddit. Also, if you didn't know, Shaba has been doing this on her channel for a while, and we now do a fortnightly podcast together over on her channel called 1-800-DRAMA, which can also be found on podcasting streaming places, so just letting you know. But today I'm very excited to be having a look at specifically LGBT plus ones, and just me today. I'm on my own. I feel very lonely. Oh dear. So yeah, let's just get on with it, shall we? Let's have a read of these Am I the Butthole posts. Ta-da! Who's the butthole today? Hopefully there's no buttholes. I like it when everybody is lovely, but I don't think we've ever had that where it's just like nobody's at fault, just a misunderstanding. At best it's like everybody kind of sucks, but it's not too bad. Right. AITA for not telling my friends I'm a lesbian. I mean, I instantly want to say no, you're not, because you get to decide when you come out, who you come out to, how you come out. That is something that is completely within your control, and apart from the person you're dating, nobody needs to know your sexual orientation. You know, it'd be kind of difficult to hide it from the person you're dating if you're a lesbian, you know. Oh yes, I would like to date you. I mean, unless you have unlabeled sexual orientation, which is very fair, but if you're a lesbian, it might be quite difficult to hide that from future girlfriends. Yes, but for not telling your friends, no, because you have no obligation to tell them. But let's read the specific scenario, because sometimes the initial question can be slightly misleading. I started university in September of 2022, hope it's going well, and I quickly made an amazing friend group. We were all really close and hung out a lot on nights out. Okay, weeks ago, I'm assuming like a few weeks ago, I told one of my friends I was a lesbian. I've known I'm a lesbian for years, but I was too scared to come out to anyone. She was the first person I told. That's so fair. Like, coming out can feel like such a big deal, and for a lot of people it really is. It's a huge moment, and it's very scary, and it's something that you need to do when you feel ready with the people that you feel like you can trust, and it is completely up to you when you do this. It doesn't matter how long you've known for. Plus, I'm assuming that unless you're a mature student starting uni, you were only 18 when you started telling people, which is still quite young. She was silent for a long time. Oh, that is not a great response. Yay. And then she told me that it was terrible that I hadn't told her when they met. What did she expect?
Oh, hello. My name is Blah. I'm a lesbian. Very nice to meet you.
Felt very weird for me to say. That's not how the world works, Jessica. Sorry. I don't know why I chose the name Jessica as well, because I'm very good friends with a Jessica who is lesbian. Oops. She said she would have acted differently if she'd known I was attracted to women, e.g. not change in front of me, go to the toilet with me in the club. Why? That's just basically saying, oh, because you're a lesbian, I think that you're just checking out every single woman who ever existed. No. It's true that I've been with my friends when they were getting changed and in their underwear, but I never stared or acted in a predatory or creepy way. Yeah, I don't understand why they're suddenly so uncomfortable. Like, just because you have the potential to find women attractive. Because somebody could not find women attractive and still, like, be creepy and stare and look and not be very just chill about it. It's just the whole trope of like when people come out and then in the locker rooms, it's like, oh, don't change in front of him, or oh, don't change in front of her because they're gonna like creep on you and check you out. And it's like, no. Two of my friends have blocked me. Oh dear. Apparently they assumed that I hid the fact I was lesbian so that I could act like a straight girl and creep on them. AITA, no, you're not. Your friends are. Honestly, in the beginning, I know you described them as an amazing friend group, but they're not. Like, you need to go find yourself some people who accept you for who you are and don't make up weird excuses to be homophobic. That's what this reads to me. If they are truly uncomfortable, that's their problem. That's not your problem. You don't need to come out to them so that they can then decide if they're happy changing in front of you when they would just change in front of every other woman. They don't know everybody else's sexual orientation. If you go into a changing room, and some people are quite open with changing out in the open and not using a cubicle, you don't know the sexual orientation of everybody else in there. It's split based on gender, not based on sexual attraction. I think it's just an excuse. They may genuinely be feeling like their reasonings are, oh, it's because you didn't tell us and we feel lied to and uncomfortable, but it is all just coming from homophobia. I think even if you had never like changed together or there was none of that stuff, it would have been something else. else that they'd have been uncomfortable about. It would have just been the pure fact that you'd not told them straight away and they felt betrayed. Really, it's just homophobia. You deserve to have friends who accept you for who you are and don't treat you like some kind of predator or creep just because you're a lesbian. That's really, really rude and problematic. So go find LGBT plus friends. That would be my biggest recommendation. Obviously, nothing wrong with being friends with cis straight people, but I think also it's nice to have a group of friends that can relate to your experiences and who are within the same group as you. It's just nice to have some friends that are like that. They don't all have to also be LGBT plus. I think that's just my own preference. It's up to you though, but I definitely wouldn't stick around for these friends. You are not the a-hole. That felt like a very quick one, but no, oh my gosh, you don't have to tell people your sexual orientation. Imagine that. Oh yeah, if you're going swimming and you're going to be using the changing room, you have to walk in and announce that you're a lesbian before you're allowed to get changed with the other women. That just totally feeds in to this really, really old mindset of homophobia of you know how we're having the whole crappy bathroom debates that should never be a debate in the first place about whether trans women should use the women's bathrooms, which they absolutely should, but some people think they shouldn't because they're labeling trans women as predators and saying that trans women using the women's bathrooms would compromise the safety of cis women. It's all rubbish. There's literally findings to show that there is no increased risk to cis women with trans women using women's spaces. But if we rewind time a few decades, that exact same argument was used to push lesbians, or to try and push lesbians out of women-only spaces, saying that lesbians in bathrooms and changing rooms were predatory towards straight women. And then if you go back even further, it was saying that black women should not be using the same spaces as white women. It's just all been this really awful segregation throughout history based on whoever was picked out as being the weakest minority of that time period. Right now it's seen as trans people. You have found a group of friends who are literally spouting out homophobic tropes from multiple decades ago, and you deserve better than that. So you are not the a-hole. Get some better friends, because that's what you should have. AITA for forcing my brother to come out as bisexual. Well, instantly, based on the other one where it's not the a-hole because you came out when you were ready to. Yes, the a-hole for forcing, let's see how much it was actually forcing, or if it was forcing somebody else to come out, because that's not okay. Coming out should always be done on the individual's terms, not anybody else's. I, 32-year-old man, am getting married in a few months to my partner, 31-year-old woman. It was originally scheduled to take place last year, but we had to postpone due to COVID. Fingers crossed everything looks on track so far, so long as the COVID restrictions are lifted in time. This may be slightly dated. Okay, a wedding. Lovely. Earlier this year, my brother, a 27-year-old man, came out to my immediate family, parents and sister, as bisexual, and he has been seeing his current boyfriend, 20-something-year-old man, for a couple of years. Cool. My foot is going numb. Honestly, it didn't come as a huge shock to me or my sister, and I'm completely fine with his sexuality and have now met the boyfriend a couple of times. He is a lovely guy. So nothing went wrong with the coming out. He's come out to his immediate family already, so that's not the problem. My brother has asked if he can bring his boyfriend to my wedding as a +1. Is this going where I think it's going? Oh dear. And in principle, I am fine with that, as is my partner. However, my extended family, mostly my dad's side, are quite religious, and some of them are honestly just homophobic. That's their problem, not your brother's, and not yours, if this is going where I think it's going. When I asked him how he was planning to come out to them, he has just said he was going to let it happen naturally, and he will talk to any of them that ask about it. I mean, I have thoughts, but there's a bit more to read. I've told him that he is welcome to bring his boyfriend, but that before the day he needs to come out to the extended family. I don't mind how he does it, but I really don't want the entire day to be whispers about my brother and his boyfriend. I'm really happy that my brother has met his boyfriend and that he feels comfortable being open about his sexuality, but my wedding is supposed to be about me and my partner, and I don't want his coming out to overshadow my wedding. I mean, I can see in theory, if you don't think about it very deeply and it's just this is my wedding, don't overshadow it. I can see in theory where this guy's thought processes have come from, and I don't think he's being homophobic. I just think it's slightly misguided. People find stuff at weddings to whisper about regardless. You know, people find things to talk about. People find things to gossip about. There's always something. What if a cousin brings their boyfriend or their girlfriend? As in, what if a boy cousin brings a boyfriend? What if a girl cousin brings a girlfriend? What if a friend who you didn't know was gay or bisexual or not straight in some way brings their same gender partner. You have no control over that. You just are aware that your brother will be bringing a boyfriend and is not out to the immediate family. There will be things that they will also find to whisper about and gossip about that are not just your brother. Put it in the context of, why should LGBT plus people be treated any different to cis straight people? If your brother had a girlfriend that the extended family didn't know about, would you expect him to tell them that he had a girlfriend before the wedding? Or would you allow the girlfriend to just show up? Because if the answer is you would allow the girlfriend just to show up with him and let him announce his relationship there at your wedding, then this feels a lot more about the fact that he would be coming out rather than the fact that it would cause whispers from the family. If they're quite religious, then what if they disagree with the type of relationship he's in for another reason? And he could be, if he's in a straight relationship, maybe they don't like the fact that they're not committed to each other. Maybe they don't like the fact something that his partner says or something that they do. Like, there could always be something else. It feels very bizarre to specifically be like, because you are in a relationship with another man, you have to go and tell the extended family. You wouldn't ask a straight person to do that. I just find that really weird. And I understand if you don't look at it from a different perspective, why you could get stuck in, I don't want my family to be focused on my brother having a boyfriend on my wedding. But like, really, that is their problem. And my opinion would be, if I'm having family at my wedding and all they can focus on is the sexual orientation of my brother, then I don't really care what they think. I don't really want their focus on my wedding day because they're just being bigoted. Why do I want that in my life? I would, I'm pretending to be this OP in the situation. I have a bisexual brother who I support. He is a boyfriend. He can bring his boyfriend to the wedding. If any family members have a problem with it and that detracts their attention from me on my wedding day, I don't care, because I don't want their attention in the first place. That is just my opinion on this. Especially if you think that they might have a bad reaction. Isn't it nicer for your brother to just experience them looking from a distance and having some whispers, rather than him having to be in a situation with them where they can directly say something to him that could upset him? I think it's important for us to try and move to this place where LGBT plus people don't have to make this big song and dance about who they're in a relationship with, just like straight people don't. So if you would allow your brother to bring a girlfriend to your wedding without specifically going to all of the extended family members and being like, hello, extended family member, I am bringing my new girlfriend to brother's wedding. There you go. Now you have the information. If you wouldn't expect that to happen, it is arseholey to expect him to come out before your wedding. And if he wasn't bringing a boyfriend, would you be forcing him to come out? No. So like, why is it any different? Like, I mean, it would be really bad if you were saying you have to come out to the family, even though like there's literally nothing that would give anything away at the wedding. My brother thinks that I am the arsehole for dictating that he comes out to our family, and my mum agrees with him. They have said that he shouldn't need to formally come out and should be free to just live his life and let my family deal with it. My mum has said that my wedding would be a safe place to do this as they can't make a scene. I don't think that it's fair for him to use my wedding to effectively announce his sexuality, and my partner agrees. So we're standing our ground, but my brother is now threatening not to come at all. So am I the arsehole for insisting that my brother comes out to our family before bringing his boyfriend to my wedding? If he was planning on showing up to your wedding and then during a speech, if he were doing a speech, say, by the way, I'm bisexual, then yes, I think you have a right to say, I would prefer you did that away from my wedding and not turn my wedding into a coming out. He's not using your wedding as a way to come out. The fact that your wedding would be a safe place for him to share his sexuality in a very casual, non-formally spoken way with the family does not mean he is deliberately using your wedding as a way to come out. It means that he has a boyfriend, you're allowing siblings, partners, and probably other close family members' partners to come and giving people +1s. Why should his +1 come with a condition just because he's not straight? That is discriminatory towards him. And I will maintain, I agree with this, he shouldn't need to formally come out, just like he shouldn't need to formally go and tell them he's got a girlfriend if he had a girlfriend, and he should be free to live his life and let my family deal with it. And your mum has said they can't make a scene at your wedding. They're probably not going to make a big deal at your wedding. It will be after. And if they did make a big deal of it, how are they going to know? If they speak to your brother and he's holding hands with his boyfriend and he's like, this is my boyfriend. You won't even notice. You will not notice the conversations other people have with each other. You will not notice the whispers that happen. You really, really won't. And if you care so much about what your bigoted, homophobic family think of your brother, I can see why he's maybe not comfortable about coming anymore. Like, you're basically saying, come out to this homophobic family or don't bring your boyfriend to my wedding. That's a bit of an uncomfortable situation, and I'm not sure I would behave any differently than the brother has in this situation, as in the brother with the boyfriend, because I'd be like, why are you forcing me to come out? I wouldn't have to go come out to them as straight, would I? I could see where OP got to like that point of being like, I don't want my wedding to be a coming out spectacle, but it won't be. And even if it is a bit, you won't notice. And why do you even give a shit what those people think of what's going on anyway? Like, I wouldn't even want them at my wedding, let alone care what they thought whilst they were at my wedding. Sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. What I mean is, I could see where OP was coming from if they hadn't thought about it. Like cis, straight, not realizing the privilege, not realizing the double standards and the hypocritical nature of this request and the discrimination in there as well of the request. But once it's explained, I'd have hoped that things were understood a bit better. But for it to have gotten to the point after it was explained by both the brother and their mum that wasn't very reasonable, and now both brothers are standing their ground, and like you're protecting it feels like you're protecting the feelings and the opinions, potential feelings and opinions of homophobic family members than your brother's comfort. Like, just don't force people to come out. Like, it's not necessary. I have very strong feelings on this one. Yes, arsehole. Don't force people to come out. Just deal with it, man. Now, I'm just taking a minute out because I'm feline excited to make a little announcement that the void that was left in my life from artisanal cheese carving, because I gave up my artisanal cheese carving business, has been filled with my newfound, totally genuine and not at all made up and very, very real passion for running a circus made up entirely of cats. Oh yes. I mean, AKA really just an excuse to hang out with and cuddle cats all day. So, you know. And yet again, this would not have been achievable had it not been for Squarespace letting me create the perfect website. I did not do a very good purr, did I? Perfect website. There we go. That was a bit better. Or just weird. I don't know. Squarespace really is the cat's pajamas when it comes to making websites. I am not going to stop with these puns. You're in for a treat. Their flexible website templates allow you to easily create a professional looking website that fits into any category. You get started with one of their professional website designs, and then you can customize the look and add any features that fit your needs. Sharper and I's actual very real website was super easy and fun to make, as was my website for my absolutely real and totally not made up endeavor as being the ringmaster of a cat circus. If I'm being totally honest, the cats are absolutely the ones that are in charge though. A awesome feature that I find very useful is the asset library. This allows you to upload, organize, and access all of your content from one place, meaning you're able to manage all of your files from one central hub and use them across the Squarespace platform. Squarespace even have pre-built layouts, allowing you to build a page using pre-designed structures for specific purposes, including a contact page, a blog, an about page, page for your products, and so much more. Page elements are arranged to quickly create professional layouts to showcase the content on your website, and you can remove or add blocks to create custom looks. So whatever your website idea, whether you're looking to build a community, if you're an awesome entrepreneur, or perhaps, getting it, you want to set up a cat circus of your own, as in you just want to cuddle a lot of cats, then you can use Squarespace to turn any idea into a website. Drop a comment below and let me know what other amazing jobs I could give a try, and I might just build a website for it, because honestly it is a dream to be working with Squarespace, and Sharp and I have used them for years to make our genuinely real website that we use a lot. To get started yourself, go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can head to squarespace.com/Jammidodger to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. The link's in the description box. Meow, you're talking. That was awful. I'm sorry. I will now stop with these hysterical puns and get back to the video. Thank you for listening. Also, if anybody counted the number of cat puns in that, please comment below. Am I the asshole for not telling my family that my husband is transgender? A lot of the very big theme of outing and all of this stuff and telling people your identity in this one today. And I'm always like, if you're forcing or feel forced to come out, there's assholiness going on. If you haven't come out and people don't like you for it, you're not assholey, they are. But let's read the actual scenario before we make a full-on judgment. My husband is a transgender man. Oh, like me. Therefore, he cannot get to be pregnant. Like me. We agreed before we even got married that we wanted to adopt. And we're a couple of years into the process right now and are probably a couple years off being able to adopt kids. Oh, that's so cute. I wish you all the best in your adoption process. That's adorable. We told my parents that we want to adopt, but have never told them he is trans because we didn't think they'd accept it. They are aware of our adoption plans and have asked us if we'd seen a fertility specialist when we said we couldn't have kids, and we said we haven't seen one because we want to adopt. Fair. I think you don't have to disclose anything, and if it's important to you that you don't have that confrontation and argument with your parents and you just want to keep going at the relationship that you have with them currently and it's just not worth the fight, I think that's fair to not want to tell them. It's not information that they need to know. It's like if your husband was bisexual, they wouldn't need to know that. If your husband was something else, they wouldn't need to know that. They don't need to know private, intimate details of your identities or your relationship because it doesn't affect them. You have made a choice to adopt, and that is perfectly fair, and that's something that should be respected regardless of whether there are fertility issues or fertility related reasons or not. You could want to adopt even if you were both cisgender, heterosexual, in a relationship and fertile, and that should not be questioned. It's your choice. For our anniversary a couple of days ago, my parents told us they've prepaid for a consultation at a fertility clinic. Holy crap, talk about overstepping. No, this is so inappropriate. They don't need to know the identity or the reasons for infertility or fertility issues to accept that you're adopting. That's all they need to know, that you as a couple wish to adopt, end of story. They should not be meddling like this. This is so inappropriate. They've put down £200 just for the initial consultation and another £120 for a semen culture. Oh my god. This is so uncomfortable. I already have a son from a previous relationship, so they know I'm not the problem. I mean, things could have changed. It depends, fertility changes throughout life. They've prepaid for it and sent us an invoice from the clinic confirming the consultation and test have both been paid for. They've also paid for train tickets, £108, for us to get to the clinic. My husband then decided to come out to them as transgender and explain exactly why he couldn't have a semen culture done. No, semen. Makes it a little bit difficult. Hello, I'm here to give my sperm sample. I have nothing to give you. Edit, to be clear, he chose to tell them and he told them himself. I didn't out him. I wouldn't have thought that. My head there went, wow, those parents and parents-in-law are really, really overstepping every boundary that's ever existed. The line is a dot to them by paying for medical consultations that are very private, very personal, very invasive, and not everybody wants to undergo. Even if they were both cisgender and had been trying to have kids, maybe they do not want to undergo those tests, and when it's not working, they just want to go down the adoption route. Or maybe they've not even tried and they just want to go down the adoption route because that's what they want to do. It's so inappropriate to pay for and make people feel like they have to have fertility tests, because honestly, even if both of these people were cis, if it was the same situation but the reason was just through choice or through presumed infertility, it would still be so inappropriate for the parents to do what they've done. But it adds an extra level because of the husband's identity, because he's now felt forced to come out to them because they have spent their money through their own choice when they've been told that this is not what the couple want to do, but he's felt like he's had to come out, because how else do you deal with that situation? I mean, maybe if it were me and it had been so long and I had these reasons to not come out, and both me and Shaba were yeah, we should not tell this person that I'm trans, I'd probably just be I'm not doing that. Or just go to the appointment and say, look, this has been paid for and I'm being forced and guilt tripped to be here by family members. but this is my identity. You can't tell them my identity because of privacy reasons. You can't tell them the results of the test because of privacy reasons. But I also appreciate that that would just like, by not disclosing that you're trans, you're not lying. They don't need to know that. But then by kind of going along with what they've done, they're forcing you into a lie, or they're forcing you to come out. It's a really horrible situation, and I feel really bad for this couple, in particular the husband. Like, that is not a situation he should have ever been put in, and I'm angry at these parents. Since telling them, all hell has broken loose. They're furious we didn't tell them sooner, said they have a right to know who they are allowing into their family. No, they're not allowing anybody into the family. You are an autonomous human being, and you can marry another consenting adult regardless of their identity. They are trans, you can marry them. They're bi, they're pan, they're asexual. You can marry whoever you want as long as they also want to marry you. And your parents do not have a right to say who they will allow to marry you. I know some parents do, and I know in some cultures this is a very big thing. Shabra and I definitely faced a lot of issues about family members on her side not being happy about me being in the family and not wanting me to be a part of their kind of circle. All things we're past now, thankfully, but yes. And they are fuming that they've put down money for a consultation/test we won't be having. Their problem. Seriously, their problem. No sympathy whatsoever. They want an apology, they don't deserve one, for not telling them sooner, and a refund, absolutely not, on the £428 they paid out, as they say they wouldn't have put that money down if they'd known that we already knew exactly why we couldn't have kids the old-fashioned way, as my dad put it. All you needed to be told was that they didn't want to have fertility tests. They are adopting. That's all you needed to know. You didn't need to know why. There was absolutely no right for the parents to do this. They have no right to an apology. They don't deserve one. They have no right to a refund from the husband and OP. They don't deserve their money back. They chose, against the wishes of their child and their child's husband, to put money out for this without telling them what they were doing. They need to bear the consequences of their ridiculous overstepping decisions. And those consequences are, you lose your money. And the husband did not need to tell you he was trans, ever. I've said we didn't ask them to put that money down, and it was disrespectful of them to do so, when they know we want to adopt. Absolutely. And it shouldn't matter to them whether my husband is cis or trans. Yes. However, they feel that they are owed an apology for hiding the truth and expect us to refund their £428 they paid out, as they would not have paid it out if they knew the truth. Do you know, even if they didn't know that adoption was a thing, why the hell did they think it was their prerogative to book anybody else in for fertility tests? Why? It is such a sensitive subject for a lot of people. It is a hard subject for a lot of people. As a trans man who is not going to have children who are biologically related to me, is something I've accepted, but coming from that position, this would be incredibly upsetting if people, even though they've been told not to do something because there's no necessity, because we don't want to do it, paid for me to have fertility tests. I would be really angry, really hurt, and it would probably like trigger some dysphoria for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is a really shit situation, and they did a very bad thing. Massive assholes. We think we might be the assholes because they were coming from a good place, and honestly, we probably should have told them sooner. No, you tell. That's your husband's information. You tell whoever you want to tell. The only thing I would say about that is, like, I personally am going to tell my kids because it relates to where they've come from. Like, I would tell kids that they're adopted. I'd tell kids that, you know, a sperm donor was used, or whatever kind of donor. Like, my kids are going to know where they've come from, and they're going to know the reason why they're not genetically related to me, and that would be because I'm trans, you know. So like, they might have wanted to tell their kids in the future, so it may have come out at some point, but it is completely within the control of the couple at this point as to whether the rest of the family know. And they didn't want to tell them. They're not the assholes at all. Like, you can feel like they're coming from a good place, and I don't know them, but just from what I've read, it feels like a weird place. Like, it feels more like a,
we don't want you to adopt. We want like biological grandbabies to happen. We need to find out where the problem is and fix it so that babies can happen in this way.
It feels like it comes from a place, because of the information you gave them, that they are from the perspective of, we don't want them to adopt. We want them to find out fertility issues and fix it and do everything they can to avoid adoption. That's the vibe I'm getting. Are we the arseholes for not telling/refunding them? No. Edit. I have no intention of engaging with transphobic rhetoric. Questions are fine because I believe that people should be able to ask questions, provided that those questions are not coming from a place of hate, and I would give the benefit of the doubt in most cases, and of course I won't argue with judgment about this aspect of the question unless it's transphobic. Any transphobic comments, however, will be reported and the author will be blocked, rather than giving those viewpoints my attention, which they don't deserve. I appreciate that. Yeah, transphobia, blah, go away. I feel like this person probably got quite a lot of transphobia from this, but just make it anything else. If the husband was cis and had fertility problems, there was no necessity to tell people outside of the relationship. If the husband were cis but not straight, there was no necessity to tell people outside of the relationship, like if he was bisexual or pansexual. I'm trying to think of something else, like if he'd had a past life experience that he didn't want to share with anybody but his wife. Totally his choice. Like, that is just, being trans is one of those things. It's not something that, unless you are in a relationship with somebody or you need to know for medical reasons, you do not need to know if somebody is transgender. Doesn't matter if they've married your child, you still do not have a right to know, and you don't have a right to get angry if it comes out later because you're trying to force them to have fertility tests. Like, it's wrong on multiple levels. I feel really bad that this couple are starting to think they're the arseholes in this situation, because they're absolutely not the arseholes. The parents are. Am I the arsehole for being suspicious/jealous of my bisexual boyfriend? Depends on what grounds that suspicion/jealousy is based on. But if it's just because he's bisexual and you wouldn't be suspicious or jealous if he were doing the same behaviors but were heterosexual, then probably. But let's read on. For some context, I am a bi 24-year-old woman with a bi 28-year-old man boyfriend. My previous partner was a lesbian woman and I never really struggled with commitment issues or jealousy. I'm going to try and be as expressive of my side and my boyfriend's side as possible, so it is a fair judgment. I'd also like to point out that, like, reading that, because I can see the whole post in front of me, I expect it to be quite a long one. This is quite a short one. There are only 2 short paragraphs coming up that explain the whole situation, so I'm very intrigued because that made it sound like it was going to be very thorough. Essentially, my struggle comes with the fact that when my boyfriend posts photos of himself, he has a lot of gay male friends who write flirty comments, stuff like "damn, you are handsome" or "sexy boy." He typically responds by saying something like "thanks babe" or "right back at you," things of that sort. I have the same thing and my wife does not mind, and we're both bisexual, and if she had women commenting that, I'm like, you get it, babe, because, like, I trust that. They're literally just Instagram comments from his friends being a bit flirty, and, like, I wonder if OP would have an issue if those comments were coming from women instead. I told him this makes me feel insecure and jealous, and he responded by saying that women, regardless of their sexuality, write stuff like that all the time. As in to him. Or is he saying that women write stuff like that to her? He said I was supporting toxic masculinity and being biphobic. Even though I understand that you can internalize prejudice, it was hard to be called out on those things as a bisexual woman. But, like, you know, the experiences of bisexual woman and bisexual man are very different. And the viewpoint on bisexuality with men is that it's like a stepping stone to being gay. My thought was that maybe this could be coming from a place of insecurity and worry that her boyfriend is going to come out as gay, because that is such like a message that is fed to us within society that bi men will eventually be gay. So him getting hit on by gay men is like,
oh my god, my boyfriend's going to leave me one day because he's going to figure out he's gay.
I mean, that is a bit biphobic, or at least feeding into biphobic tropes. You can internalize phobia, so even if you're not phobic against yourself, you can be towards other people who have also LGBTQ plus identities, but that are slightly different to yours or come from a slightly different perspective. After our fight, I told him I needed some space to think, and now I'm wondering if I went too far confronting him. So, Reddit, help me out. Am I the arsehole? I would probably say yes, but this is a very, very short post. Like, I'm going to try and be as expressive of my side and my boyfriend's side as possible, so it's a fair judgment, but I'm really struggling because there's very little information given about how this was actually approached with the boyfriend and what was said, aside from it makes OP feel insecure and jealous. The boyfriend's response, with that being the only information we're told about what OP said, feels quite like he's gone off on one, like supporting toxic masculinity, being biphobic, where's your energy when women write stuff like this. Those are quite big statements to make, and I can see where they could come from just being told that OP felt insecure and jealous, but I also I don't know. I'm getting the vibe there's more to it, and there was more that was said that we're not being told. And so I'm struggling a bit because I need to know, how would OP respond if it was a woman commenting those things, like a straight woman friend commenting those things on his posts and he was liking them and saying thank you? And does OP receive flirty comments from LGBT plus women on her posts? And how does she respond to those? Because there is a little bit, and like, he responded by saying that women, regardless of their sexuality, write stuff like that all the time. So I feel like that maybe alludes to the fact that there's women writing similar types of stuff on one or both of their posts, and she's not got the same energy for that. So I think if that is what's going on, then yeah, arsehole for specifically calling him out for just his gay guy friends commenting these things. Do any like straight guy friends comment stuff like this to just be like flirty with him in a friendly way? And would she have the same response if the friends who are men commenting stuff like that were not gay or were not LGBT plus but were straight? I would be curious about that. I think generally I would probably say arsehole, because it does, I'm getting the vibe of double standards based on what's been said. But also, these are his friends. Like, I think you saying stop commenting on that, or like, I don't like that, it makes me jealous to see those comments. I feel like whenever stuff like this happens, unless somebody is actively like really openly flirting with somebody else in a way that is very coupley and goes beyond just being a bit flirty with your friends, because I think a lot of people are, and there's nothing wrong with it, then I do think it speaks to a deeper insecurity within the relationship, or there being a deeper reason, and maybe it is because you're dating a bisexual man. Yeah, this is a tricky one because it's so tiny, but I'm veering towards going like, yes, you are the arsehole, because I am a bisexual man with a lot of LGBT plus friends who are men who will comment or post or DM flirty things and say things to them that seem quite flirty, but Shaba doesn't mind, and I don't mind when she does the same thing with friends, because there's that like core of security and like trust in the relationship. And I think if it is just friendly flirtation between friends, sexual orientation shouldn't have an impact on that. And it feels very like there's more going on, like there's a bigger reason why you're worried, because that kind of thing wouldn't even cross my mind as being a concern. So yes, I think arsehole, because it's just friends flirting with friends. And unless he's given you a specific reason that there's more going on between any of the friends, or between him and any of the friends, then I think it's a bit, yeah. You can tell somebody that something makes you upset. I think open communication is great, but having a response back to be like, these are my friends, I'd love to know where this insecurity and discomfort around these comments is coming from, and then you talk about where it's coming from, and then you can share, and then you can talk, and you can feel comfortable, and it's great. Like, just have open communication about it. It's fine for you to tell him how you are feeling about something, but at the same time, it's fine for him to interact with his friends in this way, and it would be something to discuss and work through, rather than just being, it makes me uncomfortable, don't do it. And that is the last post for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to go click the link in the description box if you want to check out Squarespace and create a awesome website for yourself. Maybe it's about cats, maybe it's not, it could be about anything. And yeah, think about giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing if you want to, but no pressure. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Much love. Bye.